Okay, there's one artist here on my top favorite CD series, and he's someone that I kind of grew up with. Pretty sure my sister probably remembers just the one song from this artist here, and of course he was from the 2000s. And yeah, he was kind of like he reminds me a lot of John Mayer. Oh, sorry about my my hair. I know it's kind of a little bit like Dennis the Menace, right? Sorry, there's like a little piece of hair that's kind of. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, he's just like a John Mayer. He reminds me a lot of like Joni Mitchell too. And his name is Jack Johnson, not the jazz player, but the Jack Johnson, the guy that was, he was a surfer, he was he was a great artist. He's I think he's like in his late 40s now or something. But yeah, I'm pretty sure my sister remembers at least the one song, like like I said already. Yeah, I only have just one CD from this guy. I mean, I've listened to a lot of him. And I mostly really got into him a lot more later in my life, later in my teen years or whatever, because I was using like Pandora and stuff, and I remember hearing a lot of Jack Johnson's music and stuff. And his big album is the In Between Dreams. I mean, do I really need to have that album? Maybe not. Do I really need to have that CD? I mean, I've heard that album about a bajillion times, right? I mean, I know that album in the back of my hand, but I really like some of his earlier albums. I mean, going back to 25 years ago with his very first album that was called something Tales or something like that. He's got the raincoat and it's raining, and it's got that really great song that everybody freaking knows, Flake. That kind of became a live staple for him, and it became like a kind of a staple song for him. And he had On and On from 2003. That was kind of like a couple years after. But then, of course, In Between Dreams from 2005. And I love that album cover, and I just love the way the whole production is. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who just don't like that type of music, that really hates like him or whatever, because he's a little too hippie and he's a little too. He gets a little bit into that, like Shame on You, or just talking about a lot of, I wouldn't say to the limit of being like political or anything, but he's just, I think just some people seem to be bored of him. But I love him, and he's got that other great song too, Better Together. I mean, that's like a song that's heard in every single weddings or whatever, and in fact, my cousin that lives over in New Jersey, she was actually the first of, the whole family, whatever, of cousins or whatever, that she got married, and that was her wedding song, was Better Together. And absolutely great. But the one CD that I actually have here from him, and I remember actually getting this CD over in a Goodwill in Arizona back in 2019. Back in July of 2019, and this is quite fun. Like there's just one song that's actually just the song that I just like, and all the others are kind of like whatever. And that is, and it's actually kind of like a soundtrack, but it is kind of like, I guess part of an album or whatever. And that is, yeah, it came from the Curious George, the movie from 2006, and it's Jack Johnson and Friends, sing-alongs and lullabies for the film of Curious George. Now, the movie had just turned 20 years old. Yeah, can you believe that? And I remember my sister remembering this movie, and of course the song Upside Down. That's definitely another great song from his, Upside Down. Nothing can be impossible that can't be found. You just hear that everywhere, But I mean, some of the songs are like, they're kind of okay. But the one song I do kind of like is Broken. The Broken's kind of a good song. But the one song that's actually, I wish they would have put on on the album, or whatever, is Banana Pancakes. That was on the In Between Dreams, that previous album. But man, oh my goodness! But In Between Dreams, I really like that one. You know, it has Good People, but some great stuff. I mean, some really great. It's a really great, solid album. But you know, do I really, like I said, you know, do I really need to have a copy of that? Like, you know, because I know it's just going to sit on my shelf and not, you know, be played a lot. Because I know that album to the back of my hand. You know, waiting, waiting, waiting on you, waiting and sitting, whatever the hell that song is. That's on that album too. But man, I really like this. You know, it's fun. It's a little cheesy, but you know. But yeah, it's quite fun, you know. And my sister, she remembers that movie quite well, you know. Because you know, she was like, I mean, she wasn't even in elementary school at that point. I mean, I was like 9, I think, or 8 or something like that. I know, man. Life is just flying by. It's like, wow. I remember being 9 years old, and here I am. I'm 29. What happened with life, man? That's crazy. And my sister, she's in her early 20s now, just like, what the hell happened with time? You know, time just kind of just flew, like, you know, it just kind of just evaporated, you know. But anyways, that's all I can say. I really like Jack Johnson, and this is quite enjoyable. It's not something I listen to all the time, but, you know, it's just fun music. Okay, folks, take care. Bye-bye.